Good morning. This is going to be a super quick video just to show in principle how you can locate a short on a board. This is a Lenovo. I forget which model it is. Higher end, newer one. But when you plug it into power, there's my amp meter to show if it's going to be getting any power. You get nothing on the amp meter, which means there's a short likely somewhere on this board. So the initial inspection that I did under the microscope, let me just kind of go under a few things here. I just went across a lot of things, and I noticed there was just kind of like a film on there. So I hit it with some alcohol and used my toothbrush and found the tiniest little bit of solder that broke free. And I'm going to say the solder was about maybe that long, maybe 2 millimeters or so. And it was just about that long. And I cleared that off the board. Unfortunately, that didn't do anything. And this, kind of looks bad, but there's a lot of flux or something on here. But I don't believe this has been worked on, which is weird. Okay, so the next step to do for me to find a short, what we want to do is we want to put this under a thermal camera, and I'm going to go ahead and try to move that over there to the thermal camera. You can see where my hands are. This particular camera is pretty cool because it has two cameras that overlay each other, so it can show you where heat is, but it can also show an outline of parts, these parts and things like that. It's a good way. There's your CPU right there. Anyway, it's a good one to use. It's a FLIR one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this where you can see the whole board without my hands. And then what we're going to do is we're going to plug the board in, and we're looking for a hot spot. So here we go, plugging it in, and keep my hands out of the picture. And you also got some reflections and things. And if you move this board around, you will see one hot spot. See, this right here, reflections, right, for reflections. But when you turn this board, there is one area that always shows a hot spot, and that is right there, but it's a bit diffuse, which means I expect that it's going to be on the other side, because if we are looking, let's see if I can get both of these in camera. There we go. Well, kind of. If we're looking at this piece right here, there's nothing here really, but there is a plastic connector right here, which is not going to be it. And it's kind of diffuse. So we go on the other side of the board, and that becomes much clearer of a spot. Okay, so switching back over to our microscope here for that area. Switching over to this area where we saw the heat. What we want to do is unplug it. Move the thermal camera out of the way for now. Want to unplug it and put some alcohol. And we're not going to see anything until we plug it in. So we plug it in with the USB-C connector here. We're going to plug it in, go back over to that area, and we're looking to see rapid dissipation of the alcohol. And it looks like that is dry. Not only that, do you see almost like a pulsating bit right there? And look at this. We have some empty bits of solder, and that's probably where that came from. Look at this. Solder. The question is, what's going on? That's a good one. Get rid of that solder. So I think I'm going to put a little bit of alcohol in there one more time. Yeah, there's definitely something wrong with that one chip. So as this was, look at that. See that light underneath? Show you one more time. Look underneath right here. It looks like an arc or something. And being that there is solder, little bits of solder all over this board, I'm guessing this put out so much heat that it generated so much heat that it literally melted all the solder underneath it. So what I'm going to do, I'm not even sure what kind of chip that is, but I'm going to attempt to find a replacement. But first thing I'm going to do is pull this off of the board, and we'll unplug the power first. And then once we've got this off the board, we can check to see if we have no heat. Well, it'd be interesting to see. Also, wondering if this right here is a short to ground capacitor, and it is. So this is a short here. So this has basically grounded itself out. So once we take this off, we should eliminate that short circuit. That would be kind of cool. All right, so a little bit of flux. Regardless, it wouldn't be a bad idea to go over this board bit by bit to see if there's any other bits of solder lingering around, hanging out anywhere. There we go. All right. So this is one of those really difficult type of chips. And if we look underneath it, see about getting a better view of it here. Here we go. If you look underneath this chip, we have serious issues with it burning. Interesting. So I don't even know what that is, but it might be a good idea to try to find a cheap board and then replace this chip. But let's see if we got rid of that short. We did not, but we still have a lot of solder here. Something could be bridged. So I'm going to put a little bit of flux on that and see if removing this will handle that short. Again, like I say, it's really more of an exercise in finding a short. Out of all these thousands of little tiny parts, finding the exact chip causing the problem using heat. You don't even have to use a thermal camera, really. You could just use your finger. I've seen this one YouTuber use his hand, and he's somehow able to feel these. But that's using voltage injection, which is a completely different ball game. All right, so let's get this cleaned up. Alrighty. Ooh, that's hot. Okay, I believe the pads are okay now. Let's clean this off a little bit to see where we stand. They're not completely clean, but they are not bridged. Okay, let's try. Let's see if we got rid of that short. We may not have. There may be more issues with this. Now, it's still shorted. I wonder if any of these other ones are shorted. Nope, these aren't shorted, just that one. So, I can't be 100% sure. Yeah, it's shorted. Okay, so let's go back under the thermal camera and see if we have we'll see if we've got rid of the hot spot, at least. Alrighty. Maybe one day I'll do a video on this camera. I mean, it was expensive, but I'm not completely sure that I really am in love with this camera. All right, so the hot spot was right where my finger is. Let's see if we can center that a little better. Right there. That's what we're looking at. So I will put it right. There we go. Is that right? Yeah. So that's where we had the heat. So I'm going to plug it in. See if we still have a heat signature right there. And we do not. Right there is where it was, and nothing. That means the short is gone. And in fact, we now have, let's see if we can show it a little better. We now have 5 volts going in. Whether or not it will actually turn on, it's hard to say. We don't even know what that chip is that was fried. But I'm going to see if I can find out what that chip was. And I'm also going to see if the machine itself will turn on. Because now we're actually getting a no short because of this. Looks good. Okay, let's try to turn it on. Okay, so I've got it in here just enough to try it out. Like I say, that chip, it's got to be something. We don't know what it is, but it's got to have some function. So what we're looking at here is our amp meter. We're going to plug it in, and it starts at 5 volts. I want to see if we hit the power button and if anything else happens. So it's virtually at not even 1 milliamp. It's not drawing a single bit of power, but it's not shorted either. So we will hit the power button, see what happens. Yep, nothing at all. So in the grand scheme of things, that chip is important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a part 1, and we will see about getting a replacement chip or motherboard, because I am not even sure what kind of chip that is to begin with. It's important, obviously. Let me go into the microscope with it one more time. But that's good news that we don't have a short, at least. All right, let's see. Okay, so it's right here. There it is. What in the world is this chip? Oh yeah, that's where it was sparking and everything else. Yeah, and there's no actual markings on this chip as far as that I can see, as far as a part number or anything like that. It said UT1 next to it, so I'm going to just go with that. And then also see if I can find a dead board for like 30 bucks on eBay. Okay, so that's it for this one. Stay tuned in a few days maybe for part 2. See ya.